Hey, welcome everybody. It's Ted here at Rediker Software. Going to get right into today's webinar named Paperless Re-Enrollment, making it a reality for 2026. Now, this is not a new concept at all with Rediker. Rediker has given our schools the ability to paperlessly re-enroll students for years. However, in the last several months, we've made some enhancements to the system that make the process even more comprehensive and makes it so that the school needs to rely less and less and less on any type of third-party softwares, meaning that you can really accommodate the entire process right through the software that you're already subscribed to. And so today, we're going to go ahead and look at this scenario where you want to, one of the goals of almost every single school, especially private schools, is they want to make things as easy as possible to re-enroll the students. They don't want to put a lot of barriers up in front of the parents or to make things difficult. And one way that you can do that is by sending them home some kind of paper package and asking them to, fill out all of the forms and sign them all and send them back to the school. Nobody likes to do that anymore. They want to just do everything on their tablets or on their mobile phone. And so you want to just make it as easy as possible. And you'll see today how you can do that, how you can make it possible for the parents to go through the re-enrollment process completely and utterly online and even minimize the amount of work that they need to do. Of course, it always helps to make things easy for yourself and your staff as well. Nobody wants the dreaded job of collecting 800 sets of re-enrollment forms, multiple pages each, and flipping through all of those and maybe based on the data, typing stuff into a database. It just doesn't work anymore. And so we're going to show you how we simplify things drastically for the school staff. Now, I do want to make a few statements. Number one is that there's absolutely no one single correct way for any school to manage this process. Every school is a little bit different. They have their own requirements. We like to talk about these things with customers. Like, we like to have discussions with them about how are you currently managing this process? Let us help you. Let us help you refine that process and take advantage of these capabilities that, frankly, you're already paying for in the software. So we feel that you might as well use them. And depending on those requirements, we have even more advanced software called Finax, which is a full-blown accounting package for schools. And there's integration points during this process on that. So what we're going to do right now is get into a live typical scenario. We're going to use AdminPlus Online Forms to send them out to all of the parents. And they're going to be pre-populated with much of the data that we already have on file for that student and that family, because this is the perfect opportunity to make sure that all of the data that you have on file for them is accurate and up to date. Many schools need up-to-date documents, mostly and mainly medical documents, for a doctor's report. So we'll show you how we do that today. And we want to let them know what the fees are going to be. We want to be transparent about the costs and make sure that they understand our terms and conditions and that they agree to it and that they even provide a digital signature on that. We want to make it easy for them to pay us. And that often involves giving them flexibility in how they're going to pay their tuition. So in this case, I like to offer parents at least 3 different payment options. Maybe you offer more or less than that, but the beautiful part about it is that the system can be tailored for your preferences. We want them to go so far as not only to agree to a payment plan, but we want them to execute that first payment and take that deposit right then and there while they're going through the re-enrollment process and allow you to be managing all of this stuff in real time. So let's get off the PowerPoint for a minute. Let's get out to our browser and let's get logged into adminplus.com. We're gonna follow along with the student. Her name is Amy Hagerman, right? So we've got Amy Hagerman in AdminPlus, and this student is not re-enrolled for the coming school year yet. We're gonna send her through that process. Before we do, I want you to take a quick peek at some of her data. Number one, I'm going to stop on the emergency contacts area. You're going to see that we already have information, but it might not be correct. So watch what happens as we move through this. Also notice here in the student's portfolio, there currently is only one document on file for Amy Hagerman. It looks like a copy of a report card. Okay. Also notice that in this payments area, there are no charges, no payments, kind of a clean slate here. And lastly, notice that it is her mother, Adele, who is the designated as the primary contact. And I would expect, yeah, so she's also the billing contact. She's the one in this case that would execute the contract and pay the bill. So let's get on with it. We're going to be using an AdminPlus online form that I've created. It's called the Re-Enroll Data Verify Med Forms and 3 Pay Options online form. You know, if we pop in and look at this really quickly, you'll see that I've created a multi-tabbed form that we're going to have the parent go through. And actually, you know what? It looks an awful lot better if we go and actually see this from the parent's perspective. But just before we do that, I do want to, I want to point out a couple of things about this form. Number one is that I have set it to update the verification status next to the student snapshot. And what that means is that currently for Amy Hagerman, we see a blank here. It says that the demographic data has not been verified. Just keep that in the back of your mind here as we go through here. And also notice that it's a pre-populated form and that I have enabled it for online fee payment. And I've attached a payment plan with 3 different payment options. And then I've enabled auto pay. Very important. Talking about making it easy for the parent and for the school staff. When a parent selects auto pay, they walk away. And on the dates that their payments are due to you, the payments are extracted from their bank account or their credit card and placed into your bank account. And you don't really have to do anything to make that happen, but watch it happen. So it's really the ultimate inconvenience for everybody. Okay, now parents can't fill this form out until we publish it. So let's go ahead and send this form out. And although I could send it just to Adele Hagerman, we could do a lot better than that. Why don't we do better than that? And I'm going to go ahead and say, why don't we publish this form out to all, on behalf of all the students in the 12th grade? Now, in a real scenario, you would publish these to all, on behalf of all the students. You got to re-enroll everybody. So you would just do the whole school. But I'm gonna just work with the 12th grade. Amy is in the 12th grade. And so we're going to go ahead and publish these forms out. And that part is done now. You can see them all here. There's about 30 students or so in my 12th grade. So now we can send the email messages out. And what will happen is that for each of these recipients, you can see here, as I click through them, they're all set up to go. And all we need to do in this case is click send all to send the invitations out. And that part is done. So 28 recipients, okay, have been sent out. Let's go pretend that we're the parents now. You can see here in the, I have this system rigged so that I can go through and look at all of these emails. So the recipient, the parent, would only need to click on the link to the form to open it up, rather than me looking through these for Adele's. I'm going to log in as Adele into the parent portal. This is the second way that your parents can be made aware of the fact that they have a form to work with. The email gives them the head off. They can click the link and it would do the exact same thing that I'm doing right now. It would open up on behalf of Amy Hagerman, this re-enrollment form. Now remember, these forms are responsive, mobile responsive, meaning that the parent could be doing what I'm doing right now using their tablet or their mobile phone. Of course, I'm in a computer browser here. So here we go. Adele Hagerman is logged in. On behalf of her student, Amy, you have asked her to go through the re-enrollment process. It can't be much easier. We're thanking her in advance for doing this thing. We're letting her know what's going to happen. She's going to verify some data, upload a medical form. She's going to see the finances. She's going to agree to our contract. She's going to pick a payment plan. She's going to authorize the automatic withdrawal of the money from her account, making that initial deposit. And so she starts to step through the form. And look, the first thing you can see, simple instructions. Hey, if anything's wrong, fix it. If anything's blank, please go ahead and fill it in. Well, this all looks good. So she's going to move on through the form and look at the parent guardian information. And once again, if anything is wrong here or blank, she works for Acme Company. She can go ahead and fill that information in for you. Check the information about Gary, in this case, the dad, or potentially even add additional contacts in by clicking Add Contact. Emergency contact information. So let's pretend that this is not Susan Jones. We have a Katie here today, and we also have a Garcia. So I'm going to go ahead and change the name of the emergency contact. We'll also alter this phone number. I'll make it today's date. Okay, let's move on. Now, I have not included all of the demographic data fields that you might include on a form. This is a sample form, of course, and you get to pick from all 260 of the demographic data fields that exist in your database. So let's say that there's medical information. Yeah, the doctor's information has, in fact, changed. It's Dr. Sanderson now. And look at the doctor's form. Attach your student's most recent medical file. And so mom just happens to have that handy, Amy Hagerman doctor report. It's a PDF file that the parent is going to attach to the form. Everything's looking good. But maybe mom gets interrupted and takes advantage of the save and revisit later. This happens. Maybe she doesn't have that doctor's file handy, and maybe she wants to click save and revisit later and go get it, and then go ahead and attach it on and keep going through the process here. Okay, so now the fees. As a courtesy to the parent, we're allowing them to see how the fees are computed. And at my school, there is a $275 registration fee for all students. There's a technology fee that is grade level based. There's also a tuition fee that is grade level based. And then there may be some deductions for financial aid and for scholarship. And so, in fact, here are the calculated fees for this particular student. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ted, this is some kind of voodoo magic. How did you do that? How did we get these individualized charges onto this form? Well, it is kind of magical. If we were to go back to AdminPlus and go to the demographics for Amy Hagerman, you'll notice under the billing area that I have populated the charges for this particular students. So we computed them and we batch uploaded them into AdminPlus. If anybody needs some help on doing something like that, let me know in the Q&A, and I'll make sure that in a future webinar, very soon, in fact, we could review the process that you would use to upload the charges to the parent, to the student record, so that they can show up in the parent portal. Okay, so the total amount is going to be 14.1. It looks like we have an optional purchase here. This thing called the Super Student Power Pack, and yeah, of course, they're going to want it. It's an extra $249. Parents going to move on now. After seeing the fees, they're going to agree to our terms and conditions. This, of course, is sample language for my very make-believe school called the Shimura Academy. I'm sure you could get together with your legal counsel and they would give you in a Word document or a PDF file all of the contractual language, and you would put it into this form so that the parent can agree to it and so that they can sign off on that. Okay, and so this is Adele Hagerman, and there's her signature, and she's going to put that on file and save it on up. So the next thing that's going to happen here is she's going to move on to the place where she's going to make the payments. And we can see the dollar amounts in play here. I want to point out the payment plan section. This is what I consider to be the most important part here, because you're not going to have many parents that are just going to whip out $13,000 on the spot. It's good for you to offer them payment plans. And in my school, I offer 3 of them. I offer a one payment plan that actually will give the parent a discount for paying us in one lump sum. Or I offer them a quarterly payment plan that breaks this down into 4 payments. I also offer them a 10 payment plan, which is very, very popular for obvious reasons. It's important that you give parents options, and Rediker will support you in that by not only allowing them to select such a payment plan, but also setting up auto pay. So let's continue on in this process now. And the next thing that needs to be done is we need to put a payment method in place here. By the way, you could use a credit card. They could use a bank account to make this happen. And we're going to put this in there and save it for future payments. And here's, again, probably one of the most important things out of the entire session. It's auto pay. Is this ability for the parent to pre-authorize the withdrawal of these payments on the specified and agreed upon dates. The parent says yes to that, and they are done. And so we did tell them that they are going to make a $500 deposit today and to set up the payment plan. And so that part has been executed. So as far as Adele is concerned, she is done. Now she is going to get an automatic email back through the system. It'll say, "Hi, Adele. Thank you so much for going through the re-enrollment process. You're all set. We'll reach out to you if we have any." So the automatic email reply. So the parent has some peace of mind about the fact that, yeah, they did this thing and evidently they did it properly. So I'm going to go ahead and close that down. And then let's go ahead back over here to AdminPlus and see what happens next. Because as of this moment, nothing has happened. Because I'm fond of saying this, as much as we love these parents, we don't, of course, we don't trust them. And we would never allow them to change the data inside of your AdminPlus without your approval. So we're going to do a couple of things here. I call it following the data and following the money. First thing we need to do is to approve this form submission. The form submission came in right here at 11:20 a.m. Now, I want you to use your imagination, because at your school, with hundreds of students enrolled, you could walk into work just a couple of days after sending out these re-enrollment contracts or these re-enrollment forms, and you could come back in here and see hundreds of them waiting for you. And when you tap on one of them, you're gonna notice something very important here, that the system is showing you what data was changed. We had a phone number. It's been changed. We had an emergency 1 contact name that is in AdminPlus. it's been changed. They've submitted changes to us. For the mother, we put her workplace in. In the portfolio, we've got the doctor's report. Watch how this plays out now. Now, I'm only doing one student, but again, you could be doing dozens or hundreds of them all at the same time. I'm going to go ahead and click the Approve button to approve the submission of that form and let all the data go where it needs to go. Okay, I'm going to follow the data first, and then we'll follow the money. So let's move back over to that student's record in the database. It was Amy Hagerman. First things first, notice this check mark. It's indicating to you that the data for this student was verified by the parent today. And of course, many of you know by now that on the dashboard, you can keep a widget, verified students. It's telling me that I've got 16 students whose data is currently verified and all the rest are not. There's a very, very handy widget for you to make sure you're keeping track of who's got updated information in the database and who does not. Okay, number one. Number two, if I move over to the demographics area for this particular student and I navigate over to the emergency contact information, miraculously, and without me having to type anything, you are now seeing the demographic data updates have been applied to the student record. We've got the emergency contact name is updated, as well as their phone number has been updated. Once again, I did not have to manually do this, and I certainly didn't have to look at this submitted package of paper that came in from this family and try to do this manual comparison between the data in the form and the data in the database to try to figure out if anything has changed and then go ahead and apply that. I didn't have to do any of that. It all just happened by itself. So any of the other pieces of information about the student that may have been updated during this process would all be updated correctly. Let's slide on over. We're going to move to the portfolio. Hey, before we started this, there was only one portfolio document for this student, but now there's three. So what's going on there? Well, document number one is a digital representation of the form exactly as it was filled out online by the parent. So basically any of this changed information, well, not just the changed information, but basically the verified information. Like, look, we've got the employer name now. That's great. You know, it's what a great way to get updated information about all of the people in your AdminPlus environment. Every single student, every parent, all your staff members can all be updated in this manner. Look at the emergency contact info that, we're seeing that here. It's in the form. The reason I'm really scrolling through this is I want you to see one thing that's vitally important. And that is that we have what some call a wet signature, a digital image of the signature. This, coupled with that language that your lawyer would give you, forms the basis for a contract that is enforceable. So we've got all this digitally. We haven't wasted any paper. We haven't had to deal with any manila file folders or cabinets, etc. Also, the latest medical form was submitted, and so now we have this on file. So the form, the doctor's report that the parent got from the doctor's office, and she attached it to the re-enrollment form. And when that got uploaded, once again, it did this magic of taking this file and automatically placing it into the student's portfolio for you. I mean, come on. I mean, we look at it. Look at how nice we are. This is a Christmas present come early. I hope every single one of you are going to be using this system to do your online re-enrollments for 2026. But we're not even done yet. Let's go over to the payments area. Once again, this is utterly fantastic that before we had absolutely nothing here, and now we have collected the deposit for $500. That's on its way to our bank account, and we have this series of payments that are going to execute at the proper time as we approach the 2026 school year. They're going to kick off in April, and they're going to run right through the school year to February. So on these dates, because this is set up for auto pay, the system is going to go snatch that money out of their account and make its way into your bank account. You can further watch this in your online payments dashboard from Rediker. This is something that is included in the system if you're using us for online payment processing. And again, I hope that you are, so that you have this easy method. And then again, if you're the registrar and this isn't your cup of tea, this isn't your concern, invite your business manager or invite your director of finance to watch this portion of this webinar, which is being recorded, and I'm happy to get it to you if you'd like. But you're seeing here, the payment information has come in. It's all on file, and we have an online system here for managing all the online payments. And if you ever need to do things like make an adjustment or issue a refund, all of those things are accomplishable right from here. Okay, so did we accomplish everything here? Yes, we did. We did everything that's on this list. It was easy for the parent. It was easy for the AdminPlus user. It's easy for your finance office. If everything is made to be easy and simplistic, and again, that's a very, very key concept in this entire process. Okay, so let's wrap this up. I'm going to invite you, if you have any questions in the Q&A, to let us know. I'm going to remind you of the fact that if you want some help getting all of this set up and established, we have the brain power. We have these people who know this stuff cold, and they can help you to get this system up and operating for your school. And all you need to do is reach out to your account manager here to start that discussion. Doesn't cost you anything to reach out to them and tell them, hey, we're interested in this system of doing online re-enrollment for our school, and they can talk to you about it, and then they can guide you on the next steps and getting you set up to work with this system, which will pay for itself over and over and over again in increased efficiency and saved man hours. I can literally guarantee that to you based on numerous customer feedbacks that we've gotten. Okay, so that's going to be it for today. I hope this was informative. I hope that you'll contact me here if you want to discuss any aspect of this further. I'm happy to do that anytime. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.